Okay, so I think this is like my fourth attempt at trying to record this video for you guys. I gave up on the other ones because they just got really bad. So hopefully this works out. All right, I just wanted to, first of all, explain kind of the thoughts around this next project we're going to be starting, the train project. You're going to be using a lot of videos where Mr. Herman had made the parts in Inventor, and you're going to use those to make it in Onshape. I know they're not the exact same, but we kind of actually like that idea. This project isn't typically one we do at the end of the year, so you guys have actually had a lot more practice with Inventor and, well, 3D modeling, I guess. So we kind of like the idea that you're going to have to use what you've learned in Inventor and apply it to Onshape. But I'm going to go through some tools that will be helpful for the train project that you haven't had to use yet, I don't think, for the Lego stuff, and kind of talk a little bit about some things that Mr. Herman might do and how you would do them in Onshape. So I'm just gonna, I feel like me might be getting a lot of parts, probably not as many as me, but I was thinking we could just use this practice one that we did back at the beginning when we first started Onshape. Otherwise, if you want, you can just create a new document. But I'm just gonna open this practice. We aren't actually gonna use that part. We'll make a new part studio. So when we get that opened, you can click this plus sign in the lower left-hand corner and go to Create Part Studio. We'll rename this more practice. So things I wanted to go over with you were the constraints, where those are the construction tool, trimming, offsetting, and how to project geometry. And then I was going to review a few things that Mr. Herman went over in his video at the beginning. So if you start a sketch, we can start a sketch on the front plane there. And then, like Mr. Herman said, you can right-click and go to View Normal to Sketch Plane. And then let's just go ahead and make a rectangle. So another thing is when you click, so I've made the rectangle and clicked, you see how the little box appears around the number. Now you can just start typing and it will change the dimension. So that's a little shorter than having to go up to the dimension tool every time. So let's just make this 4. And then if you hit return or enter, and there's your rectangle. All right, so then I want to do a circle. And let's make the circle 2 inches. And again, if you just click to make the circle and start typing, it will change the dimension. Okay, so I want to make this circle tangent to the rectangle, which means that it's just going to touch the rectangle in one place. So that tool, make my window a little bigger here. That tool is up here. This one, it's showing right now the coincident constraint, but these are all the constraints we went over. I believe we went over these before we started the CAM project. So, you know, you can make 2 circles concentric, lines parallel, tangent, horizontal. So we want to use the tangent constraint. And so if we click that circle, click the rectangle, it makes them tangent. Now, if you want to make sure it is tangent, you can go over here and click Show Constraints, and that's just helpful too because a lot of times Inventor automatically will do constraints. So you can have it show, and then go ahead and hit Escape to get out of the command that we were in. And let's say, okay, I actually didn't want it tangent. You can go over here and on the little tangent symbol, you can right-click that and click Delete Sketch Entity. So now I can move it around again. Now if I actually undo that, one thing I wanted to show you is I can still move this circle along that rectangle with it tangent. I just can't move it up and down. So that would be one thing, is it's still not constrained left to right, and you would need to add in a dimension, but all right, I'm gonna go back and delete that. Okay, let's constrain it, dimension it from the center to here, and let's say we want it to be 1.5. I don't like how that looks. Let's do 2. Okay. All right. And then I would still need to do it left to right, but I'm going to skip that for now. Okay, so now let's say I want to make this all one profile here and get rid of these intersecting lines. That's where the trim tool come in. And you just click the lines you want to get rid of. So you're going to use the trim tool a few times when you're doing the train parts. Okay, so now it's all one profile. So I can finish the sketch and then I can extrude it. You have to click what you want to extrude. I'm going to go back over here and make this isometric. Okay. Let's extrude it 4 inches. Okay. Now let's say I want to use the Loft tool. I'm just gonna make this full screen. Okay. So I want to use the Loft tool. So I'm gonna put a plane offset from this surface here. So I'm gonna go to plane, and it's automatically on offset, and then select what we want to offset from. Let's do 2 inches. Okay, so now I want to start a sketch on this plane, so I can right click and new sketch, and then again I can right click and view normal to sketch plane. Okay, so one thing that sometimes Inventor would do automatically would be projecting these lines onto the plane. So like right now, if you look at my plane, there's nothing on it. But I want to project this sketch that I just did onto this plane, meaning I want to transfer it onto the plane. I don't want to have to like copy it all by hand or redo it all. So what we can do is we can use this use is the essentially the project geometry command. So I can go through and click. See, now it kind of selects the whole thing. So there we go. If you just, I guess, click in the middle here, it projects it all. All right, so then now if I look at the plane, you can see that sketch on the plane. And so I could extrude that also, but what I'm going to do is hit escape and then view normal to sketch plane. Okay, so another tool then we can use is the offset tool. That's this one right here. And one nice thing about the offset is you can click in the middle again and have it select it all. So it selects all that geometry, and then it's going to offset by a number that we put in here. So let's change it. Let's change it to 0.1. And now I've offset that sketch by 0.1. So the distance between these two sketches all the way around is 0.1. And that's nice, especially if you are using the Loft tool to use the offset. Okay. And so then we can loft this. So I'm going to finish this sketch. I'm going back and forth between the isometric and that a lot, but all right, so I want to loft. And I want to add, so switch it to add. here, here. And that's it. So that's kind of the Loft tool. And then the last thing I wanted to go over, let's start a sketch again. Just go ahead and start it on this front face. And then view normal to sketch plane. Okay. Oops. Shoot. Go back. And then I can use the construction tool. That's the last thing I want to show you. In the video, Mr. Herman does a lot with using the point tool. And in Inventor, when you do use the point, it will show you like the coordinates of the point, and you can just type in, you know, the coordinates. But that doesn't pop up here. I'm sure one of you will maybe figure out a way to make it show. What is this over here? Oh, no, okay. So when you're in the point tool, we can put the point there. And then what you could do is either you can dimension that point. So like from, here's my origin. So, you know, if he does something like X, this is what the horizontal would be the X. So you could do like, let's say he did X as 1.5, you could just type in 1.5. And then this bottom would be, I could dimension from there. And this distance would be on my y-axis. So, you know, whatever he did, you could do it that way. Another option would be to use the construction tool, which he does use the construction tool a lot in his videos, whether it's with lines or circles. So you select what you want, and then you select this construction. And just like in Inventor, it makes it dashed. So I could do essentially the same thing. So make that 1.5 and make this 1. And do the same thing I did. Maybe it's a little less clicks. I don't know which way is necessarily better, but you can dimension the location of that point. And then now that this line is a construction line, so it's not actually like Inventor doesn't, or Onshape won't actually see it as being there. All right, so we can finish that sketch, and I didn't really change anything, but I think that was what the main things I wanted to show you guys. So hopefully this helped a little bit, show you some more tools that you can use. All right.